time for the stream. Let's do this thing. All right. Open up myself to the world. Grab a. I got some fingerprints going on. We're gonna clean them off. So we are today working on not introducing ourselves. Sorry, my name is Mike Bifulco. I am Director of Technology for thegymnasium.com, this website you're looking at right now. We offer free online self-paced video-based courses on design, development, software-related things. If you're creative, if you're someone who's aspiring to be a creative, we have some wonderful content for you to check out. I'm navigating as I clean up my screen and whatnot here. Sorry, bear with me for a second. I'm not about to live stream for an hour and a half with a gross screen. We won the war after all. Okay, the war on dirty screens apparently. Let's call that better, much better. Okay, so we are working on a Gatsby project for Gymnasium. We're building a new front end for Gymnasium's marketing pages. And I left off last week. Goodness, I don't really remember where I left off last week, but in between last week and this week, I pushed the code that I've been working on with this Storybook job to GitHub. So now we have a Storybook and a Gatsby site all in one repo, living on GitHub. I'm going to drop it in the chat in case you want to go take a peek at my code and yell at me. That's it. It's open source. And we're picking up, excuse me, I'm picking up where I left off last with this, which is, if you're looking at the repo, there's a branch called feature/footer, and that's where I'm working. What I'm doing is I'm building a, okay, we're going to do a few things, but I'm building a Storybook, or building a footer in the Storybook here, which will become a footer in the app itself. So there are a couple of problems, a couple of things that I need to suss out. But first, I feel like we should upgrade Storybook to 5.01 because it's bugging me about that. So we're going to do yarn upgrade interactive latest. Ooh, lots of good stuff. Storybook, and lots of little Gatsby updates. And Bootstrap, we're pinning the 341. I don't know if that's actually what I want to do. We might, to be honest, might forego Bootstrap altogether in the new version of Gymnasium, but I feel like it would be good for us to move up to Bootstrap 4, which is certainly more supported and performant and all those other things. I just haven't used it yet. I don't know what their grid system is like, and that's okay. So we're going to upgrade all these things, which takes a second, particularly on stream. And actually, right now, I think master is up to date with this footer stuff. So everything you see, yeah, that's actually true. Everything you see in the master branch is what is also in this footer branch. So that's okay, I think. Actually, I'm just going to continue where I started here. Once this thing updates, just taking a minute here. Excuse me. Great. Okay, so those were updated. It took almost 2 minutes. Goodness. Those are both updated. We can pull open my Git client here, stage the changes, and say update packages. I'm going to put the thumbs up in the front. Come in. Okay. So let's start this thing again. And we're going to do yarn story dev, which will run the Storybook and Gatsby together. which of course takes a second. Meanwhile, here I should be keeping an eye on my Twitch chat, which I haven't been doing a great job of the past few weeks. So why don't I do that? Okay. So that's Storybook running and Gatsby running. Gatsby here, Storybook here. Let's pull it open. If I refresh this, yep, there's Storybook. This one should be Gatsby. And if we look, there's a footer here. Cool. Okay, so this is where I left things in between sessions here. I ran into a problem in that I need to incorporate or add or whatever the requisite scripts for Bootstrap into the Gatsby project so that it loads the CSS, right? In particular, this doesn't look like it should because the CSS for Bootstrap is not in place, and so the columns are ended up funky in some of these sizes and aren't reset correctly and all the other things that should be there. So I believe what that means is I have to find the header for Gatsby, which is this guy here. No, this is for Storybook. So I need to find the equivalent for the Gatsby part of the project and add these links and scripts to the Gatsby side. So how do we do that? Well, Gatsby has a means of doing this, of course. So we're going to pull open a browser window. We'll go to Gatsby's help docs. We're going to look for header. Adding the switch, let's see, balance, custom HTML. There we go, adding custom JavaScript. Okay, so what you do is you copy this file from the cache into your source, and then it knows what to do with it from there. So unfortunately, I think we're gonna have to stop this again, which kind of sucks, but we'll copy this file, and now there should be a source/html.js in here. And there it is, and in this html.js we need to add our scripts into the head bit here. So we can do that by taking the content from here, like so. We already have typekit, so it's just jQuery and Bootstrap that need to be added. So add scripts for jQuery, and Bootstrap, and just because I'm like that, I'm going to capitalize that. So these are my scripts. Const jQuery equals some parentheses, one of these, one of those, one of those. Save. Const Bootstrap equals. It looks like I have two Bootstrap files there. Bootstrap, the CSS and the JavaScript. Bootstrap CSS equals thems and one of thems, and then const JavaScript. Bootstrap uses some JavaScript for some of their interactive stuff, which I don't think we will end up using, but nonetheless important to include it in case we do down the line. It won't cause me any headaches. So here we include now our jQuery and our Bootstrap CSS and our Bootstrap JavaScript, and I think that's all we need to do. So, oops, damn, I just undo all that work. Okay, rerun the thing with StoryDev. It will rebuild the Gatsby site, and it's important to rebuild it at this point because we just added a file to it. Gatsby wouldn't have been watching for it otherwise, and with any luck, that will have done the trick. Oh, and actually, well, let's let this compile, and then I'll show you one of the catches with this that I discovered last week. Sometime in the last week, since last we spake. Spake? Spoke. Spoken. Who knows? Uh-oh. Okay. I missed a couple of things in here. Cross origin needs to be uppercased in all of these cases or it won't work. But the good news is now I don't think I need to restart it for that to recompile. Yeah, we better. Okay. Let's see. Everything running here? It sure is. If all went correctly, the storybook will still be running and working. We didn't really touch the storybook. And in theory, if I open this and refresh, it didn't work. Okay. Well, that's about right. Thought I was onto something. Wasn't onto something. We got an on-click null here. That's funny. What I want to look for is Bootstrap. It's being loaded. jQuery is being loaded. These are all here. So what is missing then? It looks like maybe the font size is the bit that's incorrect. No, there's a couple of things that are missing here. Because the ULs have some padding or something on them. Margin, maybe? Yeah. That's not great. We have set that to 0 somewhere. Let's see how we did that. So now that we know jQuery and Bootstrap are in place correctly, we could even confirm that in here by refreshing this. Yeah, Bootstrap, jQuery, all get loaded as you would expect. What we want to do is see how we're customizing that footer. So I'm going to close this preview head. I'm even going to commit that. Add jQuery Bootstrap to Gatsby project. We might get rid of those eventually. They're sort of old hat at this point. Some people like old hats. I shouldn't be so disparaging. Okay, so let's look at the other CSS that goes into the Gatsby site, which may be overriding this. Let's see where these rules are coming from and what's getting squished. Squished? Squished. Whatever the word is. Hover over this, grab the UL, and what I'm expecting to see is, neat. Layout.css 335 overrides the module CSS, so that's easy enough. That seems to be fixable via our good old CSS modules. Rename. We'll rename that to layout.module.css, and in layout.js we're just going to say, import classes from layout.module.css. We're going to look for class name. No. Okay. There are no class names applied there. That looked like it was going to work. I'm expecting this to be more agreeable. It doesn't seem, excuse me, but it doesn't seem to be. Now, a few things. It would seem that maybe Gatsby doesn't like, maybe Gatsby ignores this because I'm not actually using it. If we recall, Gatsby does support CSS modules. out of the box. When to use, visit the CSS modules section of the tutorial. To do it, rename the thing. What it doesn't really address in here is how you can use just plain rules, right? Like these are all classes, and that's great. Okay, let's do what they suggest. So classes comes in as freaking empty. Huh. Not great, but this looks like a mix of a... This is like a reset. This is all kinds of stuff that I don't know that I want to grab. Anyway. So maybe instead of messing with that, I can just delete it. And look at that. We have our footer back. And everything looks better. I don't know if it's perfect. Yeah, there's some... That's not great. Some stuff in here that's not identical. What I'm really looking for is for these two things to be identical. Like this whole experiment is only works if my layouts and CSS are identical from one thing to the other. So we've got to figure out what is changing here. Type.less. Okay. Does that not happen here? They're processed differently. Shoot. So you can see both rules are being implemented. No, actually, I'm sorry. My rule is not being implemented here, right? This footer gym brand P rule is not happening because the CSS modules aren't there. What's going on? That is frustrating. This feels like one of those places where Gatsby is a letdown. Because it is not, in fact, doing what it should be doing, right? Like, what we would expect to see is what's happening in the storybook here, where I have defined a... Let's hover over that same thing, this paragraph. I've defined... footer, gym, brand, whatever, P, this rule is defined here. Footer, gym, brand, P. And I have called out classes, gym, brand. Yeah, that is the classes added to the thing, right? So if I go up, is there a gym brand? Oh, I'm in the wrong one. Gym brand. Yes? No? Navigation. This div does not have a class assigned to it. Let's get rid of that. This is going to be a big pain. If these two things aren't identical, this basically can't go forward. Anyone hanging out who happens to have done something like this before? I wonder if this is a configuration in the Storybook that I could add to, like, this Webpack config, maybe, possibly. Okay, let's look for Webpack. Adding custom Webpack config. Okay, we can try that. Gatsby node exports dot, what's it called? We're just going to copy this for now. And then the goal is going to be to duplicate this custom config that we just had open. Module rules 0 exclude. That's a node modules thing. Loader. Okay. I should move these things over just as they are. Options, plugins. I don't think either of these are doing CSS stuff. Maybe this env and React stuff. This is about classes, which I don't believe will help me at all. Webpack CSS modules. Although they should be used as sparingly as possible, global selectors are still available when required. So how do I set it up? Composition, Angular, React, sure. I don't know what the extract text webpack plugin does. Let's search npm for that. Extract text from a bundle or bundles into a separate file. Okay, so let's see what it says. CSS loader, I see. Crap. Okay, well, we're gonna just copy this raw business and replace as much of it as we can. The whole module segment we're gonna grab. Just drop it into place. I don't really know what else to do here. Oops. Oh, what is going on? What is that? I don't want that. Go away. Okay. Let's try that. I might need to add these things. Okay, we're just going to put the whole thing in there. Plugins resolve post CSS module output. I don't care to override an entry. We don't need to override. So let's try again. Yarn develop. We're just going to run Gatsby for now. Yarn develop. Extract text plugin is not defined. Okay, we can do that. I'm good with that. Probably needs to be npm installed as well. Yes. Okay, good. Stop. There's a lot going on here. This is a non-trivial set of problems to solve. Granted, I still think it's a solvable problem. It's just getting all of the configuration in place first before I head off barreling in the direction of this is going to be perfect and working. Ooh, auto prefixer is not here yet. Okay, come on, relax. Let's get the name of that right. Auto prefixer dash core. Okay, once more, with energy. Auto prefixer core was deprecated. Use the auto prefixer package. Okay, fine, go to hell. Auto prefixer. And what else was it complaining about? EJS. I need to add EJS as well. Actually, don't think I need the EJS package. What are we doing with that? React to HTML plugin. No. We don't want that. Maybe we do. I don't know. Shit. It's hard for all the waiting around for NPM and Yarn to finish today. It's a lot more than usual. Jesus, this is code from 2015. I don't know what that is. What the hell Rebecca Purple is. Let's see what that is before we run this stupid thing again. What? This seems hyper specific. And why is it downloaded a million times a week? What? Is this real? Oh. Eh. Whatever, we can, well, I don't have the package added, so we can't include it. So for the sake of time, it's gone. EJS is not defined. Did I not do that yet? There were other things that needed to be required. EJS path file system, sure. Great. Yeah, right. Oh my God. Has an unknown property post CSS. Did I put that in the wrong place? It is not in the wrong place. Module.exports. Module, rules, plugins. Loaders. It doesn't like loaders. You know what? This doesn't feel right. This feels like I'm going in the wrong direction. So we're going to discard these changes. I'm going to reinstall packages from where we were. We do want to get rid of that layout CSS. and rename it to a module and leave it empty. To be honest, I'm sort of not convinced that CSS modules are working in Gatsby. It just doesn't seem to be the case. So we're going to get this thing running. We're going to inspect the DOM and look for evidence that there is CSS modules happening in here somewhere correctly. Boy, they are there. That's fine. Okay. Okay. But it doesn't work if we'll go back to the gym button here. No. CSS. Gym button module CSS. So what if I do button and do border radius 50 ems? That do anything? Yeah. Overruled, but it's there. Let's do, what's something that I haven't set up here? Text, decoration, oops. Please. Text, transform, uppercase. Some combination of those things work? Yeah, wow. Okay, actually that's better. That's a decent sign. So that means that maybe in the footer I've got something, I'm missing something, right? It sure looks like these CSS modules are working. So we've got our footer open now. We want to pull the module to the side and inspect and see what's going on here. So for starters, in the button, I do the same thing. Import classes from gymbutton.module.css. In the footer, I do import classes from footer.module.css. Those are identical calls. Now, it may just be that the rules we have applied here, what am I looking for? What's missing? So we've got, I'm looking for whatever happens to that paragraph. So I'm looking for margin top. Let's look for, actually 1.55 seems like a good thing to search. It's just not there. It's just not. There's no class name here, and it's just not happening in this one instance. Is that because I've done a bad job with this? Oh, okay. How fun. So, I had done a lot of this magic because I had assumed that hyphenated class names wouldn't be good. Okay. I'm going to start them both up, and I'm going to replace all of these funny classes things with what we do So let me do this and I'll explain what the heck is going on here. Open edX logo. Footer, link, list. Again, it's going to be 2 more of those, isn't it? Okay, that answers some questions, I hope. Fuck. Are there different rules being applied? Yes. Is it sensible? Maybe not. All right, so let me close some things. Actually, I'm going to open this. I want to know what Rebecca Purple is about, who it's dedicated to. Tell me the story. This feels like something I should know. Okay. So, I now I have almost completely reversed my problem. That's funny. All right. So now the storybook doesn't have this displaying quite correctly, but the Gatsby footer does. Why do I do this to myself? Okay, what did I just learn? So in the background, what's happening is the CSS modules are being processed by the CSS modules Webpack Transformerizer Mobob on this import here. They are then imported as classes, which is really like class names that come from that. Basically, this file gets compiled down to a bunch of class names that are then injected as CSS with hyper-specific names. And this is kind of a dictionary of one to the other. So if I print the footer classes, we're going to see I've got a... why? Okay, well, here's the frickin' problem. Yeah. There it is right there. Okay, so in 1, the classes are being interpreted as camel case, gymnasium logo, right? Lowercase g, uppercase L, nothing in between. And here, they are literally interpreted. So it's gymnasium dash logo. And that must be to do with CSS module setup. There's got to be an option somewhere for that. So now it's time to remember how in the hell we set up CSS modules with Storybook. Storybook CSS modules. If I was a smart man, I would have left myself a note somewhere. I don't think I ever did. Dashes, please. Yeah, the dashes. So, Justin, this is going to be a funny thing that I like the dashes. I like the way this looks a lot. Gym dash brand is super readable and super great. But if they get imported into JavaScript with a dash, then it becomes, instead of classes.gymbrand, it's going to be classes accessed as a dictionary with a string that's gym dash brand, which is more cumbersome and less obvious. So I think I'm going to default to dashes in CSS get turned into camel case in JavaScript. Because that matches the rest of the code style in JavaScript and is easier to type. Okay, so we're going to look for CSS loader. Post CSS loader. No. Dash loader. Oh yeah, we went through this before. I feel like I'm going in circle. Shoot, just for the sake of it, let's see. Huh. Okay. Weird. I'm going to delete this. Wait, not the config. I commented out the whole frackin' Webpack config that we created. I'm going to delete it. We can always undo that. What I want to see is if that config actually did anything. It doesn't look like it did anything. That's why I was staring at it and unable to find any of the CSS or Sass or style loader or whatever it's called in this world. I really wish this didn't open a new tab every time it started. I would love it if it worked. Anyone? No stories? Huh. That's all Gatsby stuff. Using default Webpack setup, cool. Load and create React app config, also cool. keep that there. We do want to get rid of this, probably. We'll see. That's a weird one. Okay, we're back. We're back, but we are in the same scenario, I believe, where we have incompatibly configurized class names. So the classes are skewered here, and they're still going to be, well, this is no longer live, but in the console from before, we will see that they are camel cased here. So let's do CSS modules camel case. Though it is recommended you write your names in camel case specifically because of this case. I'm not sure if I agree with mutating class names like that. CSS loader is what we're looking for. Por supuesto. It's only referenced in package files. Recent update on this issue, 5458. Omitting that setting or setting it to false will result in the same behavior as V1. Setting it to true or dashes will return both dashed and camel cased version. Typed CSS modules. We're not using typed CSS. Gatsby's on V2? Is that right? 3. Oy. Okay, let's search the docs. There's going to be a setting somewhere. That's good. Migrating from V1 to V2, even though we're on V3 now. By default, the exported JSON keys mirror the class names. If you want to camelize the class names, pass the query parameter camel case to CSS loader. Okay. That's great. I think I can make use of this. Okay, I just need to add that to Storybook's config. Right? It just seems like these are both set to opposite things, and I should set them both to the more accepting rule, which looked like that was only dash and class names will be camelized. I think I want true. God, these are freaking confusing. Class names will be camelized. Good. Good. We're going to go with true. We're trying true. And we're going to use this Webpack config in Storybook land. We're going to really just add this back in so I remember the name of the file. And we're going to paste this in. And we're going to say so what we're going to do is we're going to make both of these have the same setting. Custom Webpack config. All right. Extend mode. If your file exports an object, it will put Storybook into extend mode. That's great. That's what we want to do. Did that do the thing? I think it might need to be reran. Custom add-ons config. Custom Webpack config. Extending mode. Killer. I'm learning things. That's the important bit, I suppose. And you get to watch me learn. And enjoy me learning. Man, an hour and a half ago, I wouldn't have been able to tell you what to look up to find this sort of a thing. What a horn. Ah, you son of a gun. Unknown word. Oh, yes. Okay. Okay. Wait. What? Module build failed. Post CSS loader. Well, why you... I didn't write that code. That's not my problem. This is a node module CSS loader lib CSS base.js is, let's take a look at that file. We're going to keep learning. CSS loader. Lib CSS base, and it doesn't like unknown word 1. Where are you seeing that? Imports. Oh, I see. Something got compiled real funny. Huh. Great. So this doesn't really seem to extend it. Hmm. Okay, so what we're going to do is find the Create React app loader from CSS modules and figure out how to extend that. Cool. I think it'll be in here. React scripts config, webpack config.js. Options, CSS options. Ooh, what is that? Oh no. There's so much shit going on in here. Okay. Oh boy. That's not super helpful. Okay, new idea. We're gonna try something. And we're gonna call it loader show me. So we're gonna make a Create React app. And then we're gonna eject from it, which should spit out the config. Then we'll grab that config and put it into Storybook's extender module mabob with all of the configurations that Create React app has currently. But we'll just reconfigure the CSS modules one. Does that make sense? Who knows? Just losing my mind over here. This will take a bit. Great. So, into that, and yarn eject. Yep. Now let's see what the hell is in this folder. There we go. Holy hell. Alright, so in here, no? Okay. We're going to open that file and take a look at it. Gymnasium. Here we go. Config. Webpack config. All right. I hate you. Okay, what even was the option we were looking for? Let's. My God. Okay, camel case. We're looking for camel case. No. Okay. So what we want is to just find the definition of loader, CSS loader. You've got to be kidding me. Where do CSS options come from? We don't know. That's a function. This is crazy. Oh boy. Okay. Despite what I said, let's see about going the other way with this. We're going to do Gatsby, and we're going to look for the Gatsby config and maybe switch it the other way and deal with that for now. But Webpack to the rescue. But really, this is going to be the same shit. Okay. Adding an additional global variable via the define plugin. Okay, actually, I think we can get away with this. So, back to Gatsby node. In here, we're going to copy this code again, drop it in, and do a much simpler version of this. So, we'll use the example even. For CSS, do CSS import loaders, fine, and camel case, true. I think that's what it was called. Yeah. Sweet. I don't know what this is about, but that's okay. And then I just don't care. Okay. So let's kill the Webpack config again for Storybook. Run both of them. Oops. And maybe, if we're lucky, this will come back and they'll be spitting out the same kind of code. Oh, sometimes there are times on this live stream where I feel so freaking clever, and there are times when I feel so very like this. Oh yeah, awesome. Go to hell. Wow. What's wrong here? What do we do? So this is Gatsby complaining, I believe, because we do Storybook and yarn develop is Gatsby. That would be 1, and 1 is giving us the errors. So what that means is Storybook is still running. This is still happy. We haven't broken that. That's great. Storybook, you still there? Yes, good. Okay. You're not, doesn't look right. Because lucky, but post CSS loader. Maybe it's just that no. Okay. Here it is, I think. Those are tests. Just gonna start searching around here. Read me, read me. Great. Okay. So maybe Gatsby node is the wrong place for this. Discard my changes. We'll go to my plugins. Or my config, whatever. transform style name to class name. That's not what I want. I'm so frustrated right now. Okay, Gatsby CLI. Let's figure out what you do when I stand up a Gatsby environment. No. I just need to look for where to set this thing. Man, they made such a shitty choice here. Like both of these things made opposite annoying choices. What does this do? Dashes only looks familiar. So I guess what I should be looking for is class names will be camelized. The original class name will not be to be removed from the locals. Come on, everyone. Okay, cool. So, I'm on to something here. I think. What we want to do is that same thing we had just seen to override. We don't need to migrate. Add custom webpack config, please. Okay. So, on create webpack config, this is all we're going to do. This is great. We got this thing sorted now. Inside of Gatsby node, we're going to paste this guy. We're going to get rid of almost all of this. And we're going to mimic. Look at this. We're going to mimic this. So this is the list of loaders, which we get as an input here. So we're going to say module rules test CSS. Great. Use loaders.css. And all it says is import loaders 1. I guess we'll leave. I think that means import the other things. I don't really know. But it says loaders.css options import loaders, right? So here it says the CSS loaders return a loader, does some choices based on whether it's server-side rendering, whatever. Options, source map, not production. Camel case, dashes only, which is the problem. Local ident name, which is how it generates the CSS module classes. Who cares? Although we could override that. This is the interesting thing. So it does ... options. So any options you feed into this will override previously defined options. So we're going to say camel case, colon, and this is set to dashes only, which is so frustrating. It's doing this thing. Dashes will be camelized. The original class name will be removed from locals. So we want dashes and class names will be camelized. And just dashes. We're going to set it to just dashes. There. Okay, let's try that. And hopefully that doesn't break freaking everything. Not quite confident. No, no, no. Why? Okay. Let's read a little further. CSS modules might be what we want to do. Let's see what that does. I feel like I'm hot on the trail of this thing, which is why I'm not stopping my stream yet, and you're going to see my mental demise. Then what, man? Loaders.css modules is not a function, but it should be. Utils that produce Webpack rule objects. What if the answer is just to say that? What am I doing wrong? Add custom webpack config. On create webpack config, here's an example of adding an additional global variable via the define plugin. Absolute imports. Instead of writing import header from modifying the Babel loader. If you want to do things like transpile parts of node modules. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. Okay, we'll try this approach. Comment this nonsense out for now. It's the same one. Gatsby node. Okay. Module.css. Cool. Recreate it with the custom exclude filter called without any arguments. Loaders.js will return an object like. Yeah, okay. So we don't want to change that. We want to do this. Why does that not look right? I don't know what Swiper and DOM7 is about. So this is saying rules. We're going to recreate. Oh no, what have I done? That doesn't look right because it is redundant. What is the problem here? There's an error compiling the HTML.js component for the development server. What? Module build failed from node modules, Gatsby, node modules, CSS loader, locals.js. Unknown word. You piece of garbage. I don't know, man. but it didn't do the thing. Oh my god. What I'm seeing here is a dist utils babel loader. Like, this is the compiled version, and what I'm getting is the Bluebird, all this shit here. Node modules, CSS loader lib, process CSS. I don't know. This is very aggravating. What I should do, what I should probably do is just open an issue and ask how I would do this. It just seems insane that no one's come across this. Correctly camel case connections, no. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is an open PR though, very frustrating. And Gatsby config.js. Gatsby plugin less. No, I'm not using less. I'm using fucking hell. Okay, let's try this. Who the hell knows? Why would this say? That should definitely be post CSS. Okay. Yarn add Gatsby plugin post CSS. And then we want to go into Gatsby config.js. So once again, we're commenting out this crap. There's no post CSS in here, so we're going to add this config. This should be post CSS. And if prettier were working, that would have done the thing. Please. You don't understand. I'm so tired. Okay, plugins. What else has changed? I'm not putting up with it at this point. Webpack config. Let's kill it. Kill it. We don't need it. Trying a million different things here. That's not necessary. Gatsby config. We like that. Gatsby node. I thought I commented that out. Oh, I didn't save it. Saved. Compiled successfully. Did it do what I want? Fucking no. Nope. What other options do I have in here? Class names will be camelized. What do I have in there now? Camel case, false. True. Let's try all the options. See if I care. Bring it on. So very aggravated right now. Okay. What do we got? Oh, it's so not helpful. Nothing's changing. Nothing is changing. What I'm expecting to see is some effect from this. Stupid. What does this post CSS plugin do? Oh, it's this is right. This is an open pull request. Okay, well, I'm going to be hung up on this for now. I'm just going to leave a comment on here. Anything I can do to help with this PR? It looks like this would be wise. Nice case. Feed. Can't hurt to give a straight up screenshot. The amount of times I run into a problem that is very nearly solved by the open source community and just dropped within weeks of me touching the thing is kind of shocking, given how much open source stuff I touch from day to day. Meaning, there's I don't know. It just seems unlikely that this happens as often as it does. Piece of garbage. Storybook. Try and give as well-rounded, as well-rounded of a description of what's going on as possible. think with that, it might be time for me to shut this damn thing off and stop. Thanks for hanging out. I will be back next week, next Tuesday. Until then, everyone go subscribe to this issue. Who knows? Yeah, thanks for hanging out. I will catch you next week.